Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our Chats with Emily. That's what we're calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are using the Johnson edition, and we do now turn to poem number 237, I Think Just How My Shape Will Rise. Now, this is in many ways a continuance of poem 236, which we recently studied. It is possibly another Sam Boyle's poem. Maybe an analysis of relationships, certainly a question about the notion of forgiveness. And as we've already commented, Emily was constantly struggling with the idea of, can I be forgiven for things that I have done? Should I worry about that? And in some ways, like in poem 235, she is maybe wanting Boyle's forgiveness. We always have to say maybe. Now, our assumptions, you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've already worked through our preceding set of introductory comments. I'm hopeful that you've already worked through the preceding 236 poems. We just finished with poem 236, If You Dissolve. Now, in what is often referred to by scholars as the third master letter, letter number 248, she said it this way, and again, it's not completely clear who the master is. Some have called it Sam Boyle's. Quote, "Don't banish Daisy, shut her in prison, sir. Only pledge that you will forgive sometime before the grave, and Daisy will not mind." There is a certain type of despair, scholars have pointed out, and I think the key word of the poem is going to be a word like delirious. Notice the structure of the poem. I think, I mind, I con. Let's enjoy the poem. "I think just how my shape will rise when I shall be forgiven, till hair and eyes and timid head are out of sight in heaven. I think just how my lips will weigh with shapeless, quivering prayer, that you so late consider me the sparrow of your care. I mind me that of anguish sent, some drifts were moved away, before my simple bosom broke, and why not this, if they? And so I con that thing forgiven, until delirious borne by my long, bright, and longer trust, I dropped my heart unshriven." This is a fascinating poem, and I think it demonstrates the complexity of Emily's struggle to try to come to terms with her understanding of forgiveness and the theology that will account to that, and as well the relationship that she has with individuals. Notice that she begins by musing, "I think just how my shape will rise when I shall be, quote-unquote, forgiven." Again, the tone here is remarkable. "Till hair and eyes," and notice it's a timid head, "are out of sight in heaven." In other words, I wonder what it will be like to live my life and then come to the end of my life and be forgiven once I am out of sight, once I have left for heaven. And then she comes back again with the second "I think." "I think just how my lips will weigh with shapeless, quivering prayer." You'll remember quivering from poem 125, prayer. And again, these words like quivering can be read almost as satirical, right? Quivering prayer, that you, whoever you is, right? It's not totally clear. "So late consider me the sparrow of your care." Now this consider being in quotation marks and sparrow takes us to her reading of Matthew 10:29. In poems 141 and 164, she played this game already from Matthew 10:29 and the King James Version of the Bible that she would have read, quote, "Are not two sparrows sold for a farthing, and one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father?" And of course, the idea is that God knows everything that's happening. So here she says, I wonder what it will be like when finally in an afterlife I am the sparrow that is finally placed under God's care. Notice the theodicy question seems to be, am I under God's care now before I die and have to go to heaven? And then from I think to it's I mind. I mind me that of anguish, notice capitalized, sent, some drifts were moved away. This word drifts could be understood to be offerings, poetic offerings, maybe to Sam Boyle's. Before my simple bosom broke. And again, her use of the word simple here, broke. And why not this if they, the source of anguish here, many have read this as, for whatever reason, she is begging Sam Boyles for his forgiveness. It's altogether possible that she has an ulterior motive here of wanting her poetry to be accepted and maybe even published by Boyles. And so, notice, I think, I mind, now to icon, that is to persuade. And so, icon, you'll remember this back at poem 40 when she used that phraseology, I seek to persuade that thing, I think about that thing, forgiven. Notice it's a thing, it's a concept that's so esoteric for her. Forgiven, taking us back up to the second line of the poem. Until delirious born. And again, this use of the word delirious, she only uses it in 4 other poems. In poem 414, she uses it in poem 512. This one's a fascinating one. It reads like this. The soul has bandaged moments when too appalled to stir. She feels some ghastly fright come up and stop to look at her. Salute her with long fingers, caress her freezing hair, sip goblin from the very lips the lover hovered o'er. Unworthy that a thought so mean accost the themes so fair. The soul has moments of escape when, bursting all the doors, she dances like a bomb abroad and swings upon the hours as do the bee, delirious born. Long dungeoned from his rose, touch liberty, then no more, but noon in paradise. And then the poem finishes. She does this delirious in poem 528. And then in poem 723, she plays it this way. It tossed and tossed, a little brig I knew, or took by blast. It spun and groped delirious for morn. And then finally she finishes with it slipped and slipped as one that drunken stepped. Its white foot tripped, then dropped from sight. Ah, brig, good night to crew and you. The ocean's heart too smooth, too blue to break for you. This idea of delirious carries with it this notion of joy or crazy concern. It's not completely clear. Until delirious born, by my long, bright, and longer trust, and this seems to me maybe the way that a lot of people get to the whole Sam Boyles side, I dropped my heart unshriven. In other words, what is really going on in this poem? Well, I think the argument that she's making is we all long to feel somehow if we have harmed or hurt another to be forgiven, or if we have upset someone. At 2b, the tone of this poem is remarkable, and I think it leaves us to question exactly what is going on. At 3a, well, obviously we mentioned Matthew 10:29. I think she is playing this game. God knows everyone's sorrow, even when a sparrow falls. And I think for Emily, she is going to ask the theodicy question, yeah, but is that actually true? Finally, at 3b, in a way to own a little poem like this, what was a time that you longed to be forgiven, and maybe it didn't happen, and to what degree did that trouble you, if at all? Thank you.